and just think outside the box and get the views.
Oscar De La Hoya wastes my time.
Boxing is the best, the purest, the most beautiful sport in the world when the best fight the best.
I think he should go down and win a title at 160 because he won at 47, 40, 54, 68. Go get 60, you closed it off. That's fine.
Us fighters who get in the ring and risk our lives, there's enough pie for everyone to pass around.
Oscar De La Hoya says once a fighter gets a taste of 7 figures, 8 figures near the end of his career, he's guaranteed to make a mistake. Terence Crawford just climbed the mountain and defeated Canelo Alvarez, cementing his legacy. But according to De La Hoya, that victory created a new, massive obstacle. We're going to explore Oscar's direct warning to Crawford and reveal why a fight with Charlo isn't just a tough matchup. It's easy to criticize after the fact, but Oscar De La Hoya was one of the few prominent voices who publicly predicted Terence Crawford would dismantle Canelo Alvarez.
Crawford versus Canelo, which I feel Crawford will win.
Yeah. Okay.
But it'll be a great fight.
Yeah.
In an interview with Ariel Helwani, Oscar said he was not surprised at all by the outcome. He didn't just pick the winner, he diagnosed the why days before the bell even rang.
I've always been impressed with Terence. Yeah.
I
was not surprised at all. I called it, I don't know how many days before.
De La Hoya, who famously promoted Canelo for years, stated, "I know Canelo. I know exactly what he cannot handle and what he can handle.
I know Canelo, I promoted him. I know exactly what he cannot handle and what he can handle, where he looks great and where he doesn't." And Crawford was the perfect opponent or fighter to derail the train. That was the bottom line. You move on Canelo just a little bit and he gets lost.
That inside knowledge gave him the confidence to call the derailment of the Canelo train, and it's the same knowledge he's using to warn Crawford about what comes next. This wasn't a lucky guess, it was an educated, surgical breakdown from someone who knew the fighter's flaws better than anyone. It's crucial to remember that when you hear what he says next. So what was the fatal flaw De La Hoya saw? It wasn't about power or chin. Oscar laid it out perfectly. You move on Canelo a little bit, and he gets lost. He described Canelo's feet as being cemented on the canvas, making him a stationary target for a boxing computer like Crawford.
God, it makes me horny.
Yeah, baby.
To tell you I told you so.
I told you.
I predicted the Canelo Crawford fight like a goddamn fortune teller.
You're the Oracle?
Canelo's feet were cemented on the canvas as he was hitting air. What the was that? Props to Crawford.
Thank you.
He came up 3 weight classes and fought a beautiful fight.
Good job.
What a great performance.
Did you get what you was looking for?
Like taking candy from a baby.
My candy.
In a separate Clapback Thursday segment, Oscar doubled down, saying Crawford just played with Canelo and made him look silly. He completely dismissed any excuses about Canelo being old, firing back that Crawford is older.
He just played with Canelo, made him look silly. And before you start with your about Canelo being old, just know that Crawford is older.
I'm too old.
That's not an excuse here. Look, I promoted Canelo's entire career.
Put some respect on it.
And it was a huge fluff.
How do you like them apples?
The only real fighters he's faced were Mayweather, Bivol, and Crawford. And they all toyed with him.
This analysis is critical because it separates Crawford's skill from Canelo's specific weakness. Crawford won because he exploited a very particular flaw, but that same flaw might not exist in his next opponent.
And it'll silence a lot of doubters. Not all of them, but it'll silence a lot of doubters. And he can move on to the next challenge. And then that next challenge is possibly a top 10 in the world.
I think the smaller Charlo could be even more dangerous. The smaller Charlo has speed and fights harder, and he's in your face. It's a great payday for him, and he's obviously he took that into consideration when making the decision. It's going to be a tough task. 2 weight divisions is historical if he wins, and 2 weight divisions if he loses, he has the perfect excuse. I moved up 2 weight divisions.
It often proves the perfect strategy against a specific opponent. This is the heart of the problem. When Ariel Helwani asked Oscar if Crawford would retire on top, De La Hoya's answer was a hard no. Why? because Bud now has a taste of 7 figures, 8 figures, whatever it might be. This is Crawford's biggest obstacle. It's not a jab, a right hook, or a weight class. It's the money. Oscar explained that once a fighter gets that massive payday late in their career, you're gonna make a few mistakes. He's seen this movie before. The hunger that got you to the title is replaced by the comfort of the bank account. The mistake isn't about failing in training, it's about who you choose to fight, why you choose to fight, and the subtle complacency that money buys. It's a game changer.
Crawford afterwards hinting at maybe retirement. Do you think he retires?
No,
Not
at all.
Now he's making the big bucks, right?
Well, now he has a taste of 7 figures, you know, 8 figures, whatever it might be. Once you get a taste of that, towards the end of your career, you're gonna make a few mistakes.
The actionable advice is to recognize when your motivation shifts from greatness to greed, as that's the moment you become vulnerable. Imagine you're Terrence Crawford. You just beat the face of boxing. The phone is ringing. Every offer is massive. You feel invincible. This is the exact moment De La Hoya warned about, and a fight against Charlo is the definition of that mistake. Oscar said he might make a mistake, and he might choose the wrong opponent and lose. Why Charlo? Because Charlo is dangerous in a way Canelo wasn't. He isn't flat-footed, he's a natural 154-pounder with a chip on his shoulder, desperate to redeem himself after his own loss to Canelo. He represents the classic trap fight, a high-risk, stylistically difficult opponent that might look like just another payday to a fighter who's already looking past him.
Hey, what's up, guys? Canelo Charlo, super boring fight. I mean, he just showed up for a paycheck. Canelo, obviously, like I said, on quicksand, throwing bombs. He won easy. But anyway, look, if we want boxing to survive, if we want boxing to thrive, we need super fights, like all the time. Fighters must fight each other. We have to come together. Promoters, Eddie Hearn, Al Heyman, Bob Arum, whoever's out there, let's come together. I'm calling you out. Let's come together. Let's meet the power of the minds and come up with something, because boxing can die. I'm calling you all out. Let's do this.
Crawford's obstacle isn't Charlo's skill alone. It's the temptation to take the fight lightly because the last one seemed so easy. But what about the physical danger? Let's not forget, Charlo has already felt the power of a true super middleweight. After his own loss to Canelo, Charlo was brutally honest, saying, "Canelo's a mother expletive beast. Maybe I felt that more because it was my first time at this weight division." He admitted he wished he could have gained more weight.
I love boxing, so I'm not going nowhere, and just jump right into it. And Canelo's a motherfucking beast. You know what I'm saying? He's an ox. Maybe I felt that more because of the fact that this is my first time at that weight division. I wish I could have gained a little bit more weight in between from the weigh-in to that time, but I can't control my body, and I can't, but like God had this already written, and I'm glad that I was in there with to put on the performance for Showtime pay-per-view.
In your perspective, why don't you think he could have stopped Charlo?
No, he could have stopped Charlo. He should have. I mean, first of all, you had a fighter who was there just for the payday, literally. I mean, he's in the biggest stage of his life. Go out there and take some risks. Fight hard. People paid their money. People buy it on pay-per-view. Fight hard. Because when you fight hard, you don't lose anything. When it's a great fight, there's no loser.
This experience is now Charlo's greatest asset. He knows exactly what the power at 168 feels like. Crawford, who started his career as low as 135 pounds, may have handled Canelo, but Charlo has now acclimated. Charlo's warning about Canelo's power serves as a direct message to Crawford. You don't understand the force you're playing with. Charlo is a super welterweight who was humbled by it, and that humility makes him infinitely more dangerous the second time around. De La Hoya was scathing about the Canelo-Charlo fight, calling it boring and criticizing Charlo for being there just for the payday and not taking some risks.
Despite what anybody say, that's a 50-50 fight. Canelo got good inside game, but he gonna have to get past Charlo long arms, and Charlo he can use his reach good. He's strong. He got a good jab. It's a toss-up with me.
That's going. Charlo got that punching power. I'm just gonna say that.
I think Charlo's gonna take it. The reason why I say that is because he's just on another level.
But this criticism actually highlights why Charlo is so dangerous now. He has already cashed the big check. He has already felt the embarrassment of a passive performance. The Charlo who fights Crawford won't be the same man who fought Canelo. He'll be desperate for redemption, with nothing left to lose and everything to gain. That version of Charlo, the one who is willing to take risks, can be a nightmare for Crawford. Crawford's genius against Canelo was exploiting a predictable, flat-footed opponent. A desperate, unpredictable Charlo fighting for his career is a completely different animal. The takeaway is simple. Never underestimate an opponent who has already faced and learned from public humiliation.
Especially at the elite level. So I think it's a great fight. I just think that the press conferences were freaking lame.
Why?
Just because it was all staged. I mean, come on, guys. Look, if you want to see Canelo pissed off, take a look at my press conference. With Munguia and Canelo. That's Canelo pissed off.
Oscar De La Hoya wastes my time with this question.
Yeah, we saw Oscar De La Hoya trying to say that the fight was going to take place maybe in the daytime.
Yeah, this is what I want from you, to say his name. I decide with Dana White to have a breakfast in MGM at 10 a.m. inshallah. Then we will go to the arena to have the fights quick, and after that we will go dinner to Carbon, and in the night we will watch Conjuring because it will launch in September. Oscar De La Hoya wastes my time with this question. Of course, this is in the peak. This is the boxing, the sport number one in the world. This is Canelo and Crawford.
You have to consider the counter-narrative that's been brewing online, amplified by channels like Boxing Ego. This argument states that Crawford's entire resume is built on damaged goods. They say he beat a Ricky Burns who sucked, a 5'5" Gamboa coming up in weight, a Jose Benavidez coming off a gunshot wound to the leg, a near-blind Kell Brook with both eye sockets shattered, and an Errol Spence who was post-car crash and post-detached retina. They even argue the Canelo he beat was not fresh and had lost a step. If you subscribe to this theory, then Charlo, who is not recovering from a life-threatening injury, could be one of the first truly prime, healthy, larger opponents Bud has ever faced. But let's debunk that damaged goods theory right now, because it misses the point. The one factor that trumps all of it is boxing IQ. A Reddit discussion pointed out that the only fighters Canelo ever struggled with were those with superior boxing IQ, namely Mayweather, Bivol, and now Bud. This is the truth. Crawford's wins aren't just about timing, they're about unraveling his opponent's entire psyche. He doesn't just beat fighters, he dismantles them. The damaged goods argument is a crutch for critics. Crawford's greatest tool is his mind, and that's what he would bring against Charlo. The obstacle isn't his resume, it's whether his IQ can once again solve the puzzle of a naturally bigger, stronger, and now desperate opponent. Didn't Oscar call the Canelo-Charlo fight boring? Yes, he did. He said the fighters only threw one punch in one round.
So, you posted on social media the other day, you're kind of fired up about the Canelo fight. Why didn't you like that fight?
Because it was boring.
What?
I mean, when a fighter throws one punch, when two fighters throw one punch in one round, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, I'm a fighter who has been in there, in the line of fire, throwing 100 punches around. Like, the fans want to be entertained. So that was my critique, is coming from a fighter, coming from a world champion. Yeah, I was bored.
But it would be a critical mistake for Crawford's team to watch that tape and assume Charlo is a boring fighter. Charlo fought that way against Canelo because he was intimidated by the power, the stage, and the weight. Against Crawford, a man he sees as a fellow smaller fighter, that hesitation would be gone. The boring performance was an anomaly, not the rule. De La Hoya's own critique proves that Charlo has a different gear he didn't even try to use against Canelo. Crawford would be facing the real Jermell Charlo, the undisputed champion, not the shell-shocked version who fought for a payday. That's a deadly miscalculation to make. De La Hoya's warning about money is only the beginning of the story. The real drama is happening outside the ring, with promoter wars, backstabbing, and billion-dollar lawsuits that are creating a toxic environment for all fighters. This drama directly impacts the ring.
I just look, the fact that a new entity is coming into boxing and already wants to change a bill that has been in place for decades that protects fighters, to me, is shady. That's the bottom line. Think about it. It's shady. The first thing you want to do is change the law, change the rule, the Muhammad Ali Act, which protects the fighters. I instantly think about what they did with the UFC. I instantly think about the UFC signing hundreds, if not thousands of fighters, and they don't even see the light of day. There's total transparency with the bill. You're obligated as a promoter to disclose everything that might be in the pot. The fighters call it the pot. And you're obligated to disclose the financial status of your event, of the fighter's event. If you're a main event fighter, a championship fighter, you have every right to look at the books. And with this amendment, they're gonna try and eliminate that.
How? De La Hoya himself gave the example. He ripped the Canelo Crawford undercard, calling it a waste of money for Turkey Alal Sheikh, and saying the matchmakers should be fired.
I thought, I was proud that boxing was on Netflix, just being a purist of the sport. You feel proud. I was not happy with the matchups. What I saw the week of the Canelo fight, they tried doing some contender boxing stuff. You're having precious contenders, right? Who I know can become world champions 3, 4, 5 years down the road. They're getting eliminated and beat. And you're never gonna hear from them again. That's not fair to the fighter. Now, if that's fair business to them, more power to them. Let them build whatever league they're trying to build. It's okay. Boxing here is safe with me and Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, the serious guys in the sport. The guys who respect the history and the honor that comes with it. You have a global platform, Netflix, Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. Every fight that a new audience is gonna watch should have been a known name, should have been champion versus champion. The matchup should have been better. I thought it was a slow night, completely a slow night. It was still great for boxing because it's out there and people are watching all over the world, but it left a little bad taste in my mouth.
Bad blood and promoter feuds lead to terrible undercards, which kills momentum for the sport. Furthermore, De La Hoya lamented that Showtime is leaving boxing, stating it will not be good for the sport, but does create opportunity.
You met with Bob Arum yesterday. Is there anything you could share about that meeting, what you guys have going during the press conference?
Yeah, there's really no details I can mention, but let's just say that some really big fights are going to happen very soon. And that's why I called out all promoters like Eddie Hearn, like Al Heyman, who's probably going to be impossible to talk to because nobody ever sees him. But we want to bring promoters together to work together and just create and the biggest fights possible for the fans. That's all I want to do, and that's what boxing deserves.
This chaos, TKO entering, Showtime leaving, promoters suing each other, creates a power vacuum.
I just think that without that rule there, without that clause there, or wiping out the Muhammad Ali Act, the fighter is vulnerable. The fans are not gonna watch real boxing. And real boxing is the best talent that's developed fighting the very best talent. They're never gonna see that because they're gonna eliminate each other in their first fight, second fight, and guess what? If you don't win the second fight, you're gonna be you're going to be shelved, just like the UFC does with their fighters.
For a fighter like Crawford, it means his 8-figure paydays are suddenly on shaky ground. He might be forced to take a mistake fight like Charlo just to get paid, rather than waiting for the right fight. The business chaos becomes a career obstacle.
No one knows his next move.
Right.
And what would you like his next move to be?
I think he should go down and win a title at 160 because he won at 47, 40, 54, 68. Go get 60, you closed it off. That's fine.
Yeah. Would you like to see a rematch with Canelo?
Not really.
Okay. What about Canelo, I guess? What would you like to see in the future
I
for
don't
him?
know. Canelo can do anything he wants to. He's done so much already. There's really not much left for him to do. So it's really, I think Canelo probably could either take the rematch or close the door because Canelo's done way more than that.
Yeah.
Is Charlo even the right fight? According to Oscar, no. You also have to look at the sharks circling below Crawford. Crawford's biggest obstacle is time. He can't fight Charlo, Benavidez, Boots, and Virgil. Every fight he takes is a choice. And at 38 years old, he's running out of time before these younger, hungrier lions take over.
Do you think there's any chance the winner of that fights Terence Crawford? I know he's 168
Yeah,
at the
there's
moment.
a lot of possibilities.
Because that would be the next massive fight. For the winner,
Absolutely.
right?
I mean, imagine that. That would be the next massive fight. But then you have guys who are, the gatekeepers like Fundora, who's an amazing champion. I don't know how marketable that fight can be. We have to go through the system. And the system is WBA, WBC, WBO, and IBF. Because fighters, first of all, love fighting for world titles. That's the bottom line. And you cannot erase that history. So
the clock is his enemy. Here is the final and most important point from De La Hoya. After warning that Crawford might choose the wrong opponent and lose, he put it all in perspective. He said, "But that's what great fighters do. If you fight the greats and you might lose to a great, you're still great." This is the ultimate takeaway.
Not that I'm saying that Crawford is going to lose and this and that, but one thing about Crawford too is that he's going to take the tough fights. Unlike Canelo right now, towards the end of his career, he's going to take the tough fights. And guess what? He might make a mistake and he might choose the wrong opponent and lose. But that's what great fighters do. If you fight the greats and you might lose to a great, you're still great.
The obstacle of a loss is, in Oscar's eyes, not an obstacle at all. It's a requirement for greatness. He's implicitly criticizing fighters like Canelo for avoiding tough fights, while praising Crawford because he's gonna take the tough fights.
I think Canelo is gonna try and pick a soft opponent for his next fight. Given the fact that he has such a lucrative contract with Turkey, I don't think Turkey's gonna let him. I don't think Turkey will allow him to fight a softie, because there's a lot of money being paid out to Canelo. So Turkey is gonna demand, his money's worth. He's gonna demand fighting the very best.
In a way, Oscar is telling Crawford that to avoid the mistake, he must risk making one. The only true failure is not taking the risk at all. Let's tie this all together. Terence Crawford is now in the most dangerous phase of any elite athlete's career, the what's next phase. He has achieved his Thrilla in Manila. He beat his Joe Frazier. Now, he's left to face an opponent that is undefeated. The 8-figure curse Oscar De La Hoya warned about is real. It's the private jets, the championship dinners, the entourage telling you you're invincible. That is the obstacle. A fight with Jermell Charlo is the physical manifestation of that risk. A dangerous, hungry, and stylistically challenging opponent who has already been humbled and has nothing left to lose. Oscar fought everyone in their prime: Mayweather, Pacquiao, Trinidad, Mosley, Hopkins. He lost a lot of those fights, but he is universally respected as an all-time great. He took the risks.
The fact that I love boxing, the fact that I love the sport, I love the athletes. I want to see fighters, boxers become stars, become wealthy, become, their own bosses. I want to see them, shine, man. It's great for the sport of boxing. I'm going to promote until I'm Bob Arum's age.
To maintain that perfection, he should avoid fighters like Charlo or Benavidez. But to achieve true greatness, per De La Hoya's definition, he must face them, even if it means losing that zero. The biggest obstacle is Crawford's own legacy. Will he retire perfect, or will he risk it all to be remembered as truly great?